Hey everybody, back with another video. This time I'm going to be working on a GORF. This is my GORF, my board set and everything, but somebody on KLOV was having trouble with a couple board sets, and I said I would try to help them out there. So I just want to coin mine up so you can see the gameplay and the speed and everything real quick, because they're complaining about the game being real slow, and I just wanted to show the gameplay real quick and so you can hear the voice. And this is my working board set, so let's I love the voice sound, right? But anyway, let's go to the bench. You can see this attract mode. This is what the normal attract mode speed is. And we'll look at his boards and probably clean them up and also come back and show you the symptom of at least the slow play. All right, this is his working board set that has the slow gameplay on it. I just want to look at it at the bench, because one thing is, if you can see, these GORFs have like little ground rails, and I'll show this in a second, but this, the game board here, which is this one with the connectors on it, is very loose. Like, it's not even making contact with that ground strap. Look how much you can wiggle this back and forth. So that's obviously not normal or good. Like, almost all of them have, it's almost like somebody bent out those ground things right here. See how they're bent out? And they should actually be bent in. So I'm going to look at that. This is his working board set. This is his non-working board set. And he has, I've covered this before in another video that I might link to, but this is the ROM board set from the working board. It is the European version, where it says 44K ROM RAM board, and this one is just a normal ROM RAM board. It'll tell you the model number there as well. This has 2 rows of ROMs, and you basically alternate. And the one thing I saw is, I don't know what kind of ROMs were in here. It came like this without the ROMs in there, but you can see some corrosion kind of inside the sockets there. I might replace the sockets that the ROMs go into, so it would be every other one, and then test these RAM and test to make sure this isn't shorted. This cap right here, test these caps, basically test for shorts between 5 volts and 12 volts and maybe -5. I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. I'm not sure what voltage is on this, but test the voltage there. Same thing with this. No, this one I know works. So anyway, I'm going to do that. The other thing is, I don't know if you can see in there, but it's pretty dirty. So I'm going to remove all the boards from both of these, disassemble the cage, and clean it, and clean the connectors down there too with deoxit. Might as well. I can see like fuzz balls. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see. Yeah, you can see like something hanging out down there. So I'm going to do that, clean it up, and then test his boards one by one after I verify there's no shorts, or try to verify there's no shorts, then test his boards in my working board set. So let me do that. All right, so I haven't disassembled anything yet, but this is my my working ROM board set, and it's the same version, the US version. I have version 2 ROMs in here. I'm going to burn this gentleman, I think his name's Jeff, version 1 ROMs. But one of the things I was going to do is, because these look kind of corroded, and you know, it's only 8 sockets, right? 2, 4, 6, 8 sockets. I'm just going to remove these sockets, and I learned this trick from Arcade Jason. Zoom in. If you watch his channel, you can just kind of gently pry up on these and get them out of there. just like that, and then heat it up and pull them out one by one. So that way I'm not damaging any traces or anything like that. I'm just going to pull those ROMs out, put new sockets in, test these RAM here, and then test this board, obviously verify the strapping of the ROMs, and then put this board into my working set to see if it works. So I think that's going to be the first step, and then I'll come back and show the other symptom with the slow play. So while I'm over here at my EEPROM burning station, I figured I would show a quick test using the RAM functionality. So on this ROM board, there's these 2114 SRAMs, and my BK864 can actually test SRAM. So I figured I'd just show you some of the options here real quick. What you want to do is go to Device, select Device, and you will choose static RAM. Oops, sorry about that. Static RAM, and then come down here to 114. There's only one type, and then it gives you obviously device info. Tells you what programmers can actually test this SRAM. Tells you the chips and stuff like that, which is kind of nice. Package details. But then we can do RAM test options. So by default, it's just going to do a basic random data write and check the write enable and chip enable pins. But we can also do a walk ones test, which will test for some internal decoding type of errors within the RAM chip as well. So it writes, in binary, it'll go, 1 0 0 0 0 0, then 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0, and keep going like that, and writing it and reading it and making sure that the address right next to each other, or the cells that are storing it, are able to decode it, something like that. Anyway, so we will do that. Just says that could take extra long time depending on how big the RAM test is, or how big the SRAM is. And then you just hit test right there, here at the top, and it's testing it. And you can see basically it says device insertion test, RAM test, drivers test. It's testing data line 0 through 7 with chip enable and output enable, making sure that basically when the output is not enabled and the chip's not enabled, that you're not able to read data from the data outputs. And then when they are enabled, you're able to write to the chip and get data out, get data in, and then get data out. So they're doing different combinations there. And then now it's doing a advanced RAM test where it's doing all those walkings of zeros, and it takes a long time, so I'm not going to show the whole thing, but just wanted to show real quick the extra capability of the BK864 to test some SRAM, just like the TL866, but it does give you some good options here. Let me see if yeah, that's it, I guess. So I'll come back when I'm finished burning all the ROMs. All right, so I've replaced the sockets here and burned these 2532s. Replacing the sockets actually was a bigger pain in the butt than I thought it was going to be. I probably should just try to clean the existing sockets, because that was basically super time consuming. Sucked. But anyway, I'm looking at how the board is strapped at X31 is where the ROM strappings are, and I've done a video of this before. But you can see that I put in 2532s, and it looks like it's strapped for a 9332, because it says closed, open, 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 and that's what we see here. We got, if you can see, closed, open, 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 open. So I need to put in different jumpers here so that this will be jumpered for 2532 versus a 9332, the masked ROM. So let me do that, and then I did not test all of these RAM. I'm just going to strap it and then put it in the in the board. I did test this cap and it's not shorted. I test these bipolar caps and it doesn't seem any voltage is shorted on here, so we should be good there. All right, so I just use dip switches to do this. Even though this is X31 is 9 pins, the 9th pin is nothing happens to it. So just worry about the first 8, and then it's on this one it's closed, open, closed, open, 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 closed, closed. And then you do the same thing for X32. X32, I believe, covers this set of ROMs, and X31 covers this set of ROMs. So let's put this in the game and see if it works. Looks like that ROM board is working. Just put it in.
Push player button. Prepare yourself for annihilation. Space on it.
Alright, it seems like it's working. I'm going to play it just a little bit just to make sure everything looks good, like all the RAM and stuff. But it looks like that RAM is good. Back here at the bench, this is the KLOV member Jeff's spare set, and I took all the boards out, and you can see that's what the inside looks like. It's pretty bad. Definitely needs to be cleaned, and maybe those need to be tightened up right there, because you can see how far spaced they are compared to the other ones. So I'll take that apart and do that later. But this is the CPU board. I don't know if this is working or not. Usually one of these chips is bad. If it's not working, it's one of these custom chips right here on the CPU board. This one in particular, I think, has a heat sink on it. These 2 RAM boards, I just put my ESR meter on these because I think this is a 5 volts, -5 plus 12. I remember fixing one of these before, and there's no shorts. I just put my ESR meter on there, which also checks for shorts. No shorts between the voltage on those rails. I'll probably do the same thing on all of these. Forget what you call these types of caps. They're not electrolytic. I can't remember. Whatever. They usually, if they fail, they'll fail. They'll fail short. So I'm going to test those. This is the game board. The game board, it definitely needs some cleaning on the connect the header pins right there on the game board, but also the dip switch has been like really jacked up. I mean, it's loose. I could actually take that whole thing off as an example. So I don't know. It's been through a rough life probably. And here's 2 other customs. So we'll test those out. The only way to test these things is like just swap them out with known working ones and verify stuff. So, actually, I need to confirm what my jumper settings are set to too. This is one of these jumpers, I think JU1 or JU2. I'll have to check that. Not sure about that. And then here's the pattern board. So, and it looks fine too. So I'm just going to clean this up. There's a little bit of corrosion right there. Yeah, I'm going to clean the card edge of all of these, clean up, check for shorts, and with the ESR like this, I guess. Let's try it. Not getting good contact. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to check those and then clean stuff up, and then we're going to test them. Okay, I put in I actually put in both of Jeff's RAM boards, and we got a problem. Obviously, we got lines going through the screen. So let me figure out which one it is, and we'll file that away to come back to. Something going on with that one RAM board, so I figured out which one it was. If I come around here. So what I'm doing is just swapping the RAM boards in right here. This one's good, and this one has some type of problem with it. Not catastrophic, but we'll find out. Maybe I'll run a test ROM, but I'm going to come back to that. Documenting. This is swapped in the game board, if I can get it focused, and you can see there's some stuff going on the sides here, and this is most likely due to the customs. Maybe not, but we'll see. But that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, player button. KLOV'r warriors see and destroy the space cadet.
It's changing. You can see that now. So definitely something going on with this game board. And the reason why Jeff even sent his boards to me, the CPU board here runs slow. Let's turn it on. See what we get here. Check that out. Something definitely going on with this CPU board.
Okay, player button. KLOV'r warriors see and destroy the space cadet.
That's crazy. Oh man, that's insane slow motion there. Alright, so let me do some investigation and I'll come back. Okay, so the good news is, I don't even know where I left off at, but basically I ended up going through the whole, on the CPU board, swapping out the custom chips and the Z80. Both the Z80s worked. I did screw up that leg right there. I need to solder on a leg. But both Z80s work. But unfortunately the custom at U15, only one of them works out of the two board sets that I had from Jeff. The other thing is this CPU board is not booting at all, so something is going on with this CPU board. I don't know what it is. Doesn't work with any good chips, CPU or anything. Will not even come up and give me anything on the screen. But the good news is, from the parts from that board, the U3 from that board works fine, and the U3 from the original board, the slow board, is actually the problem. I thought we were going to have to troubleshoot something with the clock or something, but it turns out that this chip is the issue. U3 is what was causing that slowness. I'm going to go put this board back in, power it up, and then just film it working, and then see where I'm going to go from there. In my working board set there. Let's see what we got. And it's looking good.
Okay, player button. KLOV'r warriors see and destroy the space cadet.
So the good news is Jeff will at least be able to get a working board set, but I'm going to try to troubleshoot some of the other boards and things if I can. We'll see. Okay, I know I'm jumping around a lot in this video. I did disassemble. This is Jeff's spare set here. This is the one that was really dirty. So I took it out. There was like dead bugs and stuff in there, and I blew it out. But now I'm going to wash this real quick. And I think I'll take a Dremel and a wire brush to these header pins and see how good I can get them. I'm not going to replace them. I could, I guess, but this is a spare set anyway. So, and the other thing I did is just, if you look at these real quick where the ground is, I went through, and some of them aren't great, but I pushed them back together so the board will hopefully be a little bit tighter. There was a couple that were actually really, really damaged, but I went through just all of these right here and hopefully fixed them, so that we won't know until we actually get the board back together. So clean this up, we'll put this board back together, Dremel wheel there, and then we'll work on maybe a RAM card or something else. Alright, there's the Dremel that I used and got the boards all clean. I blew it out with an air compressor, but I'm also going to let it dry out. But that is what the connector looks like now, much better. And I got underneath of it and on the side, so you know, it's not obviously perfect or as good as replacing it, but better than what it was and probably good enough. So I'm going to reassemble this cage, and then let's see what we do next. Alright, so I have that cage that I just cleaned up, which is Jeff's spare cage with all of his working boards, or supposedly working. So I can test the cage and everything, and I've already powered it on, and I think there's a problem, so not with the cage, but with maybe the game board. So let's power it on and see what we get here. It's tight in here. Alright, so the good news is everything is moving at the correct speed. Now, I just watched the video back, and I could have swore, because I was jumping around a lot, and I apologize, but there was some weird crap going on the sides with either this game board or the spare game board. I'm not sure, but the sounds are off. Now that sounds pretty good, but we're missing half the sounds. We should hear dom 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 at this point. And that should be on the game board and potentially one of the customs on the game board. So I'm going to pull the game board and we're going to swap customs.
Galactic Defender, you are space cadet, light dust, space cadet, Orpheus conquer another galaxy.
And anyway, without the other background noises, you can actually hear GORF better, I guess. But anyway, so I'm going to take out the board. We'll swap the customs. I'll come back at the bench and just show you what I'm doing. This is his good set cage, and it's not that bad. I'm going to clean this up though too, and you can see right there that there is jacked up. These little ground rails or whatever are jacked up. Look how wide they are, and that one's like all folded over, if you can see. So I'm gonna fix that. But with this game board, you only need one of these for it to actually boot. So I'm gonna swap these around. I'm gonna mark this one A and this one B so we can actually keep track. And then I'm gonna put I'm gonna put this one A, this one B, and then we're gonna swap them and put the game board back in, and see what happens. I haven't even looked at the schematic. This is all based off of memory when I've been working on my boards, so I could say some stuff wrong. So if I do, I apologize. But one of these is needed to boot, and the other one is like half of it's used for sound or something like that. So we'll figure it out. I swapped those customs around, and do not see anything yet visually that would indicate a difference between the two. So let's go ahead and coin up. And we have sound now. You heard that. So maybe just reseating them, I'm not sure. And now we have sound. But we're missing the shooting. Now we don't have shooting sound. So yeah, something is messed up, and now I just need to go probably look at the schematic and see which chip controls what sound, because it followed the chip most likely. So that kind of sucks. Oh, we gotta fix it. It's definitely one of those customs. Alright, thankfully I have a manual, even though it's yellowed to all crap. But here you have two audio lines right here. And if you trace these back, they come into these transistors here, Q1, and then let's see here where they go. There. Okay, so yeah, one of them comes in just to this transistor and it goes up here, so it's X2, and then the other audio out is this X3, pin 24. Now, these are a pain in the butt to troubleshoot on, so the best I'm going to do, or the easiest thing for me to do, is just swap out other customs for these and just figure it out. So I'm going to spare you guys of that. I'm going to do that, figure out which one's bad, and basically test his other customs on his spare board, and we'll figure it out. Hopefully there's, out of the 3, there's a good one. Lucky somewhere. Actually, this is his spare board. First chip, it was actually his B chip, is the one I replaced, and then all sounds worked. So what we figured out is X2, which is this one, covers the shooting sounds and explosions, and X3 is the background sound. And that makes sense because we never lost GORF's voice, and X1, which is the speech chip right here, gets multiplexed probably and combined with the audio out of X3. So the audio out of X3 and GORF's speech from X1, if you can see that somewhat, X1 there, that's what comes into that audio channel over here. I think audio channel 1. Yeah, that's right. So if you have GORF speech is working, anyway, whatever, you get the idea. And so I'm just going to make a note that this B chip works, but the audio out doesn't work for some reason. And I don't know exactly why that is, but there's nothing you can do about it unless you clean the legs and hope that it's, something like that. And I'm going to test his other chip as well. Alright, so far so good. I swapped in both of his customs from a spare board, and it's working. But really, if you want to make sure that one of these customs is working, because these are the same, 066, 07, something X or whatever, you really have to put it in X3. Because, sorry for that staying there, but because in X2, really, you have the audio out, but most of the other outputs, like this S, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever, all of these are just grounded. So really the only thing that this is outputting is audio in X2, and that's why I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, you have to have a good custom in X3 for the game to even boot, because this is obviously going to U1, which goes where? I don't know where it goes, but anyway, I'm pretty sure you have to have a working chip in X3 to work, as you can see here. No, those must be the inputs. And these are the data outputs, MXD. Let me think about that. That's right. X3 is needed because it's actually what has the watchdog. That's why. So ignore what I was saying here. I guess I don't know if these data lines could be inputs or outputs, and these S11s are probably inputs on the S side. So maybe these S0s, they could probably be either inputs or outputs, actually. So they're probably inputs here. I don't know, whatever. X3 is more important. Alright, one thing I noticed is on this working board I'm working on, it looks like the sockets have been replaced, because that does not look like a standard GORF socket. That looks like a standard GORF socket. So hopefully I've got music on in the background, but I did clean up the pins on this one. I'm going to put these back in and see if it makes a difference, but I doubt it will. I got to be quick because of the music, but B is background, X3 is the background chip, and the audio didn't come back after cleaning the legs. Just documenting stuff here. It's the next day, but I went ahead and grabbed and tested both of Jeff's spare game board customs here at X3 and X2. Put them in his working game board, as you can see there, and this game board works fine. Sound is good with these customs, and then I put his other original customs into his other game board, and I'm going to go show what that symptom looks like right now. So this is his spare game board we're going to look at inside. Alright, so this is Jeff's spare game board. I made a little, you can see that, a little, you can't see that. There's a little red dot there that I put on there because it's not working 100%. We know the customs. This is custom A and B that I labeled. One of them, B, has a bad audio, but otherwise they work. So besides that bad audio, so let me power this on, I guess. Yeah, you see, this is what I'm talking about. On the sides here, there's some weird stuff going on. And it's not related to the customs, because it did it with the other customs as well. So it's something else on the game board is causing this little weird stuff going on here.
Long live GORF.
And you can tell there's no audio, background audio noise.
My GORFian robots are unbeatable.
Right now we should hear some sound, but we don't. But otherwise it looks good beyond that initial thing. I'm going to go through the first screen and see if it's only on black screen.
Space cadet.
Yeah, it looks like it's just when there's a black screen, there's something going on here on the sides. Not sure why that is.
Space cadet, all hail the supreme GORFian empire.
Or maybe it's only when they're stars. Let's watch. Yeah, only when there's stars in the background, you got this weird crap going on. So that's the symptom of this game board here. Interesting. All right, to troubleshoot this game board with that weird stuff going on, I ended up putting his spare board set. I got a couple of my working boards in here, but I put it on the bench, wired up a quick little connector here to get power, +5, +12, -5 ground. And then on pin 27, it is composite video with sync, but I think it's just black and white. I don't know why it's not full color, because it's like GORF is weird, or the Astrocade system is weird. It's got like video minus red and then video minus something, and then this one's green. I don't know. I don't fully understand it, but it's working. And you can still see the craziness there, right? But at least with this, I'll be able to hook up a logic probe and probe around a little bit and investigate this a little bit. Let me see if I... And I could wire up sound too, actually. The sound is right here. Ground, left and right is right here on this J2 connector. But I'm not worried about sound right now. Because we know one of his channels is not working. So hopefully you'll be able to see this on this piece of paper here. I found on the game board schematic, it says stars, and I think like Sparkle 1, SPKL1, SPKL2, SPKL3. Those are, come from over here, this U6 chip. So from the address lines to this U6, yeah, it looks like the address lines going through this U24, comes into this U6. That basically drives or creates this Sparkle 1, 2, 3 in the stars, comes up here to this U5, goes through U9, then comes into some, how's that go? That's the enable. It's kind of weird. I don't really get it, but then it comes down here and eventually gets fed into the video. So it ties into this video over here, the video signal, the composite video signal. So I'm probably going to work backwards. I think I'm going to start at U5 and just start poking around right there. And then if I find something, I'll come back. Still the same symptom. Let's see if I can, got my scope hooked up. We're going to look at pin 9, which is one of the outputs. Shit. Well, that's weird. There we go. So that looks, it looks pretty good. Obviously, it goes high when the screen changes. I don't think you can see that, but that's what it's looking like right now. And here's pin 7. You can't really see that good. Let me adjust this thing. That's the other output right there. Now that's kind of weird, right? I don't think that's my probe doing that. Maybe it is. We'll just look at it for a little bit. It must have been my probe, I guess. Because it's looking okay, but then I went and put my comparator on here and it kind of flakes out the game, I think. Oh, now it looks good. Interesting. Now it's looking good. Before I thought I was on to something. So I guess U5 is probably fine. Damn. It was kind of giving me some weird results before, and now it's not. Alright, going look somewhere else. So I checked oh my gosh, it's very blurry. I checked U5, LS153, I checked U9, which was a LS174, came to U20, it's a LS257, and that does not look good. My outputs are 4, 7, 9, and 12, right? 4, 7, 9, and 12. Does that match up here? 4, 7, 9, and 12. I also checked these resistors here, and that's U20 right there. So that does not look good. Let me take the logic probe out and put the logic comparator out, and then I'll check those outputs on the scope as well. Do this here. It looks like the outputs are completely dead or something. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pin 4. Nothing going on there. 5, 6, 7. Nothing going on. So I think that's our problem. U20. I'm going to go ahead and remove that chip and replace it. We'll be right back. All right, got that LS257 replaced, and part of me has my doubts that this is the problem, because like all the outputs were bad. Doesn't make sense that the stars were even working then, but let's see, I guess. Oh, whoops. It helps if I put this on the right one. Yeah, that didn't fix anything. It's still there. Why were my outputs whacked out? That's weird. Alright, so it's not U20, and the outputs were just dead. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, I actually hooked it up to my other logic comparator, and I got the same results even on this new pin. I'll do that in a second. Let me turn on. But it would help if I actually was probing the right pins. I counted on this side. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 4 right there. And so we definitely have activity, and it changes basically based off of the screen. So when it's a dark screen, whoops, like that, that's what it looks like. That's 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. That's 9. 10, 11, 12. So all the outputs are not dead. I was just counting on the wrong side. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's pin 13 that I was looking at. Whatever. I don't know why the logic comparator, even this one, let me put it on real quick. I mean, look, even my other comparator shows all the outputs as bad. And I do have them correct here. Oh, they're bad because I don't have a chip in there right now. Or maybe the chip wasn't latched in correctly. Maybe that's what it was. Nope, there's the chip. It's in there. When all the outputs are bad. 4, 7, 9. Don't get it. Do not understand why that is. Alright, maybe this chip is bad. It was brand new. I didn't test it. I'm actually going to test it right now in my TL866. Documenting that the chip tested fine, so I don't know why the logic comparator reads those outputs as bad on U20. It's weird. But anyway, I'm thinking I'm going to keep digging. I'm going to investigate some more and come back. There's only a few chips involved in the video circuit on the game board. I'm going to go back and swap in a different game board just to verify with these same custom chips, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely something on this game board. Alright, I put in one of my spare boards, spare game boards, and that had a bad custom, and I used one of the customs off of this board here. But I get the same actual symptom, which is weird. Totally different game board. So I have maybe 2 game boards that have the same symptom. It's kind of crazy, right? The other thing is on U20, got the same behavior on this. I'm going to try one more game board. I assume this, yeah, I tested this chip, didn't I? I might test this chip again. Right there. I don't know what's going on. But it's interesting now that my game board actually has the same symptom as, dang it, now I can't think of his name. It's been several weeks since I've looked at this board. I had to put it away for a little bit. But that's interesting. I'm going to dig some more. It's got to be something crazy going on here. I'm trying to figure this out. I tested this chip in my TL866. All the outputs look bad. This is my game board with one of my customs anyway, and I don't have that behavior on the sides there. What the heck? Alright, there we go. I'm not getting it. I'm going to swap around some chips here. I don't know if it's these customs. It totally doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the video is actually generated somewhere else, and then it comes in here and gets amplified and combined with the star field. And I mean, maybe it could be something in this section here, in the amplifier section and the resistors, or there's something with these custom chips that are screwing up the data bus. You know, putting some weird signals on the data bus, and it's hard to figure out if that's the issue. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Oh, you can't really see that. What the hell? But whatever. Anyway, I don't know. I might give up on this thing. But let me put his game board back in and try to look at it. I'm not going to be able to explain this, but there we go. The board's still screwed up. And I was messing around, just basically looking at this. I don't even know what these are. Vertical vert DR and horizontal DR. And it comes into these counters, these LS161s, and then they feed up into these the 74 LS74 that then does something to the star field that eventually feeds into the video line. So, you know, I just started looking at, I just put on my logic comparator and I checked U21 and I put a little dot there and that checked out okay, and then I came to U15 and it looked good, and then I came to U16 and let's see what happens here. I get lots of bad outputs and my symptom goes away, which is really weird. So I don't know why my symptom goes away, but watch, I'm going to remove this right here and watch the symptom come back. Bam. So, I mean, that's just too much is telling me this U16, this counter is jacked up or something. And I don't know why, but I have 161s and I'm going to replace this and see if we fix this board. Hopefully. Got U16 replaced, that counter. Let's go ahead and power it on. Bam! All that's fixed. Now, this game board is fully working now, I think, except for the only bad thing I think is I relabeled this chip because it had rubbed it off a little bit, but this has bad audio on this one of these customs. But other than that, the game board looks good. So on to I think this bad RAM card, I'm going to put in Mark Space or some GORF test ROM, and then we're going to try to troubleshoot this RAM board, and I think I'll be done at that point. It's the most I can do, because I think his CPU board, well, I guess I could check to see if the CPU board actually works and that it's just the bad customs, because he's got a bad custom on here. I might do that. We'll see. But that issue is fixed. Real quick, I just put my game board, because I have a bad custom here, without the custom chip in X2, just to show that you can boot this board up. You do not need X2 to boot the board up. I think it's only doing audio. And when I put my custom in, it totally jacks up the video. So it's like something's going on with the custom chip here on this thing. It's bad. But you don't need it to boot up the game anyway. You'll just be missing one channel of audio, which sucks. Alright, back to his board set. We're going to do the RAM board. Put the test ROM in. I think you put it in X1. It's been a while since I've done this, and I'm not reading up on it, but put it in X1. This is a 2732. Oh, this is a 2732? What the hell? That's not going to work on a 2532 board. No, I'll try it. What the heck? I can't remember. I thought I tested this once before. I can't remember if I tested it with a 2532 or 2732. Anyway, long story, different video. Let me see if this works. Otherwise, I'm going to have to burn the test ROM on a 25. Yeah, that didn't work, obviously. So I grabbed my ROM board that is strapped for 2732. So, oh, actually, did I strap one of his boards? No, I didn't. So yeah, let me stick the bad RAM card in there. We do not get a good test screen. Something's jacked up. So let me break out the schematic and see what I can figure out. All right, you're probably not going to be able to see this at all, but I ran it again. I have the bad RAM card in slot 5, and you can almost barely make it out if I hold the camera this way. It says DRAM test failed, slot 5, chip U06. So I'm going to look into that, because that might not. I've read several threads and stuff in the README file on this a long time ago, so I have to do some research, because it doesn't necessarily mean that chip is bad. Potentially, it could be something else. But at least I did get something that's just jacked up. U6 off the RAM board. Let me see. Grab that thing. Where's it at? Yeah, and I already socketed it right there. U6. Yep, U6. And I have my Neolock tester, so let's go ahead and test it. I haven't tested it yet, so hopefully it's bad. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to troubleshoot this thing. Alright, that's good news. Let me just double check it. Slide this just a little bit over. Test it again. Thank goodness for Mark Space. Test ROM. Right? It makes it a little bit easier. So U6, I don't think I have any of these, which kind of sucks. So I'm going to have to order some, I think. And look, I actually had ordered some, I guess, a while back, just in case I needed them, probably for GORF. So that's good news. We're going to put this in here. And we will test the RAM again. Looking much better. That's definitely a lot better on the screen. And then just hit the fire button there. We're going to run a test. And obviously this is on a black and white monitor, so it says DRAM test pass. So that's all it was, one bad RAM chip on that. So I'll have to erase that red mark, and both those RAM boards are good to go, it looks like. But I'll test them in this one in the game. I'm not going to film that. Let me see. I think that wraps this up. Maybe. Let me come back and think about something. Actually, the last board in this set, you can see this second set, all the boards are good, except for he has one slightly bad custom there. And then this CPU board, I didn't think this custom was working. I have the slow custom at U3 in there, and then I repaired the Z80 that I screwed up. Sorry about that, but it's fine. Hopefully you don't mind. I'm going to test this out real quick, and we'll take a look. I actually tested this RAM card that I fixed in a different board, but here you go. You get some weird lines coming through, and even though it's slow, like we saw before, there's also some weird kind of graphic thing going on here. I might try a different custom. I think that's U15, just so we can see what it looks like. Let me do that actually, so we can get this slowness. And the other thing is, it does not have a heatsink. So this is my working CPU board, and is that U15? Does it say? Yeah, U15 is right here. You should have a heatsink on it like this, if all possible. These things heat up and they're the first to go. But I'm gonna swap out my custom at U3 just real quick so we can see what his U15 looks like, if there's any symptoms related to it. In there with my custom at U3. I think this, if I have to go back and watch the video, when I tested the CPU board originally, it was like completely dead. But it might have been because the Z80 had a pin that was bent underneath the thing, and then when I pulled it out, the pin broke off, and I fixed that. So I thought this board didn't work at all. Yeah, you can see that even with U3, we got some weird graphic stuff going on here. That's jacked up, obviously, and that's probably the custom chip at U15 doing this. That's obviously not normal. So let me swap out that U15 and just make sure the legs are pretty corroded. I don't think this is going to make a difference, but I'm going to take this out and use a Dremel and clean up the legs. I don't think it's going to make a difference. There's probably something jacked up internally here, but I will swap out my custom just to make sure the game board works 100%, and it's not game board. The game board definitely works. It's the custom chip is bad. It's got my custom on it now, and it looks fine. That sucks, because, you know, but at least the game board works. And then if you ever find working customs, which is what we need in this industry. Whoops, why is it so out of focus? Whatever. Alright, I took out my custom. I had dremeled the legs of U15, cleaned up the legs. Let's see if it makes a difference. I have my doubts, obviously. What the heck? That's with his custom in there that I just cleaned the legs on. The dirty legs is what was causing that. So his U15 looks to be working. That is crazy. All I did is Dremel the legs on that thing, and the graphics glitch went away. That is awesome. Let me power it off and just show you, I guess. Yeah, so there was a lot, you know, not a ton, but definitely on the ends. I just Dremeled the legs, Andrew B style, and, you know, a decent job reseating that chip in there. That's still my custom at U3, because his is slow. It's that slow one or whatever. Did I clean the legs on that thing? Yeah, I had already cleaned the legs on that, so those look good. So that slowness can't be, because of that. Damn, that's crazy. I know a lot of times people say also these sockets, you could replace these sockets, but I haven't had success like that before. I think I'm going to wrap up this video. Actually, I'm going to put this board set in the game real quick, just to make sure everything looks good in the game instead of on black and white monitor. And then I'm going to pack up his two boards and send it back to him. So, alright guys, I'll be right back with have this board set inside the cabinet. Let's see what we get. This is, again, with my custom in at U3, but it looks pretty decent. I don't see any graphics issues.
Okay, player button.
Make sure that all the controls work. Oh shit! Yeah. His custom chip is still jacked up. at U15. That's what we're seeing right there. That sucks. Well, I guess that's it. I mean, it's a little bit better.
Got you, space, it. Too bad, space, it. Dorfians, KLOV'r Galaxy.
I'm probably not going to troubleshoot any further because I think it is. I mean, it's got to be that U15 chip is jacked up. I mean, it's working, you know, halfway decent. I'll put in my working CPU board just to be sure with all my parts, just to make sure it's not something on the
Actually,
CPU
I'm going to
board.
take, this is, I think Jeff is his name, his board. I'm going to take just his custom into my CPU board, put my custom U15 into his. So I have my custom U3, my custom U15, and his CPU board with his Z80, and try this in the cabinet real quick.
I'm hoping actually this does work because that his CPU board is good, because I'm kind of done troubleshooting. Let's see.
Push a player button. Prepare yourself
Nope.
for annihilation.
It might not be the custom. It's something on the game board or the Z80. Let me put his custom in my board.
Got you, space, it.
We got more troubleshooting to do.
Alright, Jeff, I think it's Jeff, hopefully I'm referring to him right, because I forgot since it's been so long, but his game board, his CPU board, with my Z80, my U3, and my U15, all working. And I just wanted to make sure, there is a little thing there, it's kind of weird. But it seems to be working 100% on my bench, but this is only black and white. So I'm going to put this board, and this is his working board set. I'm going to put this board and the other board set in the cabinet real quick.
Alright. Let's just make sure everything works.
Push a player button. Prepare yourself for annihilation. Space, it.
Remember, half of the audio is not working because of that. In this board set, he's got a bad custom on the game board. But all the graphics are good, so let me put his custom back in, his U15 back into this board. I'm jumping around, but I'm trying to narrow down what
his suspect custom, I'm not sure about it, at U15, my U3, my U3 and my Z80. I'm thinking the problem might be the Z80 because his game board is obviously working, and this is his game board. And his game board appears to be working. His U15, let's double check, make sure that's not a problem.
Everything looks good so far.
Push a player button. Prepare yourself for annihilation. Space, it.
Gotta be something with that Z80. Maybe because that pin was bent over, something did happen to that Z80. So I'm gonna put in a different Z80 for him and throw that other Z80 away. That's good news. Let's play a little bit more just to make sure we get to a different screen. Now, with ROM version number 2,
Got you, space,
let me focus. Oh boy. Alright.
Dorfians, take no prisoners.
I'm not really looking through the viewfinder. Alright. Okay.
Too bad, space, it. Dorfians conquer KLOV'r Galaxy.
Can't interrupt GORF, right? What the heck was I saying? The Z80 must be the issue. So his U15 is good. He just has one U3. Let's go back to the bench and wrap this up. Game board is good. I don't have to actually do any troubleshooting. And I'll go back to the bench real quick and wrap up this video.
So put in a brand new Z80. Hopefully it works. I'm going to test it. This is the Z80 that came out of it, and one of the pins, and it could have been from me, I don't know. It looks like it's in really great shape, but one of the pins was bent, and I don't know if that was from me or if it came like that. I'm not sure. I don't remember actually. But I soldered another pin leg on that, and I think this is not doing a good job anymore. Something's jacked up. So maybe it was that way to begin with. I don't know. Maybe I did it. Not sure. But anyway, new Z80. They're not that expensive anyway. A couple bucks, like $4 maybe tops or something. His U15, which I believe is working fine. I'm going to remove that X here. And then the one bad chip that he has is U3, which is a custom and is is making the game run slow. And this is my spare working board, and this is his good working board. Now the one thing is, and gosh, I hope your name's Jeff. You definitely want to put a heat sink on here. I don't have these type of heat sinks, but you definitely want to put a heat sink on these U15. Honestly, it wouldn't hurt to put them on all the customs, including these. You can actually put almost normal 40-pin heat sinks because it's got enough room on that, on the two customs on the game board. But you definitely want to put a custom on U15. This thing goes bad, and it's typically the one that has a heat sink if it does have one. So anyway, he's got one good working set and almost a whole nother working set, which is in my cabinet right now. The only thing is, he needs, for his spare set, he needs a new U3, I believe, and a new X2. This is X2, that's X3, and so his X2 is not putting out audio. Alright, let's put this in the game and wrap this up.
Everything works? Yes, it works, but with the original symptom of the very slow behavior there, which is from that U3 chip. But the graphics look good.
Player button.
That's so crazy. I don't know why is my camera not focusing? So strange.
Prepare yourself for annihilation, space cadet.
Yeah, my camera is totally flaking out. Anyway, that's it, guys. That's as best I can do. Can't work on the custom chips. Somebody needs to develop a solution. I'm not smart enough to do it, so hopefully somebody can create a solution for these customs. And save a lot more GORF boards. But I'm gonna pack up get this box of the card cages and ship them back out. Thanks for watching, guys. Kind of interesting. I learned a few things. Clean chip legs. If you have a working set, you can pretty much swap stuff around and verify that your customs are working, and then focus on other parts of the game as well. So that's GORF, a GORF repair video. Cheers.